Okay, Will Roberts out here in California, Winchester, California, and I'm going to show you a little gun spinning, little cowboy skills. I'm a professional trick roper, gun spinner, do a little bit of whips, everything from that to spinning hats. I worked with Cirque du Soleil for the last 4 years, a show called Viva Elvis, and you know, just kind of doing all kinds of circus skills because that's what I do. But today we're going to show you a little bit about the guns. Wait, Winchester, because I live in Winchester. We can spin guns and play with those. Anyway, just wanted to show you that I have this because it's so cool, and I live in Winchester. So, with that being said, we're going to do a little gun spinning. But before we do, let me tell you a couple things about the guns. They are real guns. 45 Ruger Vaquero. That's the gun that won, well, it's not the gun that won the West. The one that won the West is the Colt 45, but this is the same sort of thing. Single action, which basically means that the only way to actually make it work is by pulling back the hammer. You can't just shoot it, and it doesn't aim like this, which is really kind of weird when you think about it, because if you were aiming like this, you know, like Cowboys in the Hood, technically, wouldn't that person be laying down on the ground already? Probably dead? I think so. So we're going to show you a little bit of this gun spinning that I do. Sometimes I'll use a different gun. I'll show you that in a second. We'll cut away. But I'm going to show you some basic gun spinning. The good thing about gun spinning is that it can be done really relatively easily, meaning that you don't have to spend as much time as you do with maybe a whip or, by all means, a rope, like I spin my rope, because it's not as difficult. It actually is pretty easy to get down. And this is a real gun. You can use trick guns, meaning there's some that you can get from places that are all one, you know, they don't move, or they're not, you know, moving pieces. They're kind of just fake. You can get those. You can get the ones that you see in the Old West shops that they hang on the wall that say Marshall Dillon, or they've got replicas from, what's the name of that place? I don't know, whatever it's called, something Franklin Mitt, and that you can get those guns that are movable, like they've got an Elvis version, and they've got a John Wayne version, which is like $1,500, but it still doesn't work. I think that's true. Anyway, but I use real guns because, see, the real guns feel right. This is not modified in any way. Maybe the trigger action a little bit. That's 3 shots. That's another 3. That's 3 shots. Anyway, but they're regular, they feel good. Couple of tips on the handles. I'm using these bone ones. Be careful, because you can see if you look closely that I've used a lot of JB Weld, because if you drop them, a lot of times these handles are not made to be thrown around, regardless of what you do, even if you use it as a hammer, which they did in the old days, because these things, if you can't hit someone with a target-wise, you can certainly beat them over the head. But here's the deal. You spin and twist the guns, and they are weighed just the way they are. This is the old Ruger model, so that basically means that it's a heavier version, not to be confused with the new Ruger model, which is a thinner, a smaller model. This thing weighs a lot, and I can tell you right now that you can feel it if you spend hours and hours and hours spinning your guns like I do. So, we're going to do a couple of things. Didn't realize I had a gun in that holster. Ready? Anyway, we're going to do a couple of things and show you how to spin them. So let's get busy. Let's show you some things you need to know first. All right, so here's the deal. We're going to learn how to spin guns. These are some of the first things you'll learn on spinning a gun. And just so you know, a couple of things I'm going to tell you beforehand, which I might have already said before, but I'll say it again. You want to keep your hands well lubricated. I use this. It's a sock. You'll notice it looks like there's powder coming out of it. It's actually a clown sock. As a professional clown and doing what I do, it's what you put your makeup on. When you put your makeup on, it sets it. But it also is a really good thing to keep your hands kind of lubricated. You don't want to use anything wet, like oil or anything like that, because the guns will slip out of your hand. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that you have it, because keeping your fingers kind of well lubricated is a good thing, because what can happen is, as I've explained before to folks on gun spinning, is that your hands get that friction of the metal running back and forth and continuously doing it and back and forth and back and forth. And the problem is that, you know, it gets to be kind of rough on your fingers. So the joints in your fingers can get kind of eaten up and ripped up depending on your gun, and keeping it smooth in here in the trigger area. So I use powder, talcum powder, baby powder, and keep it moving and grooving. If you happen to if you're spinning guns a lot, because you will in the beginning when you're spinning, here's a couple things. You can have clippers, have a little bag of things you can do. A bag like a clipper, a knife, a razor, and super glue, because super glue was in the field dressing in the, I think it was created like Vietnam or in the 60s or something. It was actually, super glue was to put wounds together. So what you do is you cut it down, sand it down, and it makes it nice and easy and stiff. And sometimes if you really want, if you spin too much and you're doing a lot of gigs or you're just spinning, you can use oral gel. That didn't sound right, but Orajel, and it numbs it up. So you can't feel anything until like afterwards in the middle of the night when you're in pain. But you do that to keep it spinning. So let's learn how to spin a gun. Pretty much weighted the way they are as they come out of the gun shops. They are weighted exactly. There's nothing added to it. I showed you my Cirque du Soleil gun, but here's how you spin the gun. Ready? Here's the movement. Back and forth, back and forth. Now you'll notice that when I do it, I bring it down and up, as opposed to just keeping it here and spinning it, which I can do because I've been doing this a while. But the bottom line is that this motion helps the barrel, the weight come down and then up, down and then up. So you're going to spin it like that one time. Don't try to get aggressive and go, oh, I'm going to keep doing it, because it'll fall off your hand. The other thing I notice is a really good tip. You'll notice in all the tricks that you do, this is important. You're not really doing it like this, like an L. You see, you got a crook. It naturally does this. That crook actually keeps your fingers, that last knuckle, actually keeps it from kind of falling off, because it's almost like it's a wing nut, and it's going to keep it from falling. So when you bring it down and up, this is your exercise. Slow motion. Down with your arm. The other thing is, don't spin it with your arm. Don't use your arm. Use your hands. Keep it contained. Think about it like martial arts. The control and the power is here. Keep it clean. Don't be all over the place unless you have moves that are, created that way, that you can do, that you can spin around and do different things. That's cool, but the reality is I want you to keep it moved. Keep it locked in like golf. Boom, if you're hitting golf, you keep it really easy to get to that club head. Same thing. You're going to keep it moving down and up, down and up, down and one revolution, down and one revolution, catch. And like you're going to catch it to catch like you're going to shoot it. So you're going to go down and up. Always think about you want to end in a shoot. That's the thing I have about gun spinners, that I see a lot of people juggling and doing different things and guns all back here. That's cool, but I like to approach it like you're really going to grab a gun and you're going to go and you're going to shoot it, right? Boom, and pocket it. You're going to shoot it. You're going to shoot it. You're going to shoot it. See, that's what I like to do. I like to make it seem like I'm going to come from somewhere and I'm going to shoot it. I'm going to shoot it. Boom. Ha! And then around, pull the trigger back. So that's the trick you're going to learn today. Boom, boom, down, up, down, up. Your exercise, down, up, down, up. That's it for this week. Hey, I'm going to add something in that you've probably never seen before, and maybe from now on you'll see a lot of, and that's going to be this. I like to thank GoPro cameras, because I'm going to give you angles. That's where you wear. I'm going to strap the camera on me, and we're going to give you a view of gun spinning from my perspective. I've always thought that was a problem. See, I want to be able to see this part, but you can't. All you can see is my rear. I want you to see this part, and you're about to do that. Here we go. Go to my website, Will Roberts, or actually, Will Roberts' website is, that's me, trickropers.com. Check it out. I've got a lot of stuff on there, trick roping, gun spinning, some whip stuff. We'll see you soon. That was lesson 1. how you spin a gun. So that's how you spin it, like that. Here and there. Spin it. That's how it looks spinning the guns. See, drop it down and up. Drop it down and up. Across, it doesn't matter. Still the same. Down and up. Down and up. I'm using my hand down and up. Spin it and twist it. Once you get it down, you can kind of go crazy with the guns. Flipping them.